It's the 12 Huntsmen from the Green Fairy book. Once upon a time, there was a king's son who was engaged to a princess whom he loved dearly. One day, as he sat by her side, feeling very happy, he received news that his father was dying and at the point of death, and desired to see him before his end. So he said to his love, "Alas, I must go off and leave you, but take this ring and wear it as a remembrance of me, and when I am king I will return and fetch you home." Then he rode off, and when he reached his father he found him mortally ill and very near death. The king said, "Dearest son, I have desired to see you again before my end. Promise me, I beg of you, that you will marry according to my wishes." And he then named the daughter of a neighboring king, who he was anxious should be his son's wife. The prince was so overwhelmed with grief that he could think of nothing but his father, and exclaimed, "Yes, yes, dear father, whatever you desire shall be done." Thereupon the king closed his eyes and died. After the prince had been proclaimed king, and the usual time of mourning had elapsed, he felt that he must keep the promise he had made to his father. So he sent to ask for the hand of the king's daughter, which was granted to him at once. Now his first love heard of this, and the thought of her lover's desertion grieved her so sadly that she pined away and nearly died. Her father said to her, "My dearest child, why are you so unhappy? If there is anything you wish for, say so, and you shall have it." His daughter reflected for a moment, and then said, "Dear father, I wish for 11 girls as nearly as possible of the same height, age, and appearance of myself." Said the king, "If the thing is possible, your wish shall be fulfilled." And he had his kingdom searched till he found 11 maidens of the same height, size, and appearance of his daughter. Then the princess desired 12 complete huntsmen's suits to be made, all exactly alike, and the 11 maidens had to dress themselves in 11 of the suits, while she herself put on the 12th. After this she took her leave of her father, and rode off with her girls to the court of her former lover. Here she inquired whether the king did not want some huntsmen, and if he would not take them all into his service. The king saw her, but did not recognize her, and as he thought them very good-looking young people, he said, yes, he would gladly engage them all. So they became the 12 royal huntsmen. Now, the king had a most remarkable lion, for it knew every hidden or secret thing. One evening the lion said to the king, "So, you think you got 12 huntsmen, do you?" "Yes, certainly," said the king. "They are 12 huntsmen." "You are mistaken," said the lion. "They are 12 maidens." "That cannot possibly be," replied the king. "How do you mean to prove that?" "Just have a number of peas strewn over the floor of your antechamber," said the lion, "and you will soon see. Men have a strong, firm tread, so that if they happen to walk over peas, not one will stir. But girls trip and slip and slide, so that the peas will roll about." The king was pleased with the lion's advice and ordered the peas to be strewn about his anteroom. Fortunately, one of the king's servants had become very partial to the young huntsman, and hearing of the trial they were to be put to, he went to them and said, "The lion wants to persuade the king that you're only girls," and then told them all about the plot. The king's daughter thanked him for the hint, and after he was gone she said to her maidens, "Now make every effort to tread firmly on the peas." The next morning, when the king sent for his 12 huntsmen, and they passed through the anteroom, which was plentifully strewn with peas, they trod so firmly and walked with such a steady, strong step that not a single pea rolled away, or even so much as stirred. After they were gone, the king said to the lion, "There now, you have been telling lies. You see for yourself they walk like men." "Because they knew they were being put to the test," answered the lion, "and so they made an effort. But just have a dozen spinning wheels placed in the anteroom. When they pass through, you'll see how pleased they will be. Quite unlike any man." Sexist lion. The king was pleased with the advice and desired 12 spinning wheels to be placed in his antechamber. But the good-natured servant went to the huntsman and told them all about this fresh plot. Then, as soon as the king's daughter was alone with her maidens, she exclaimed, "Now pray make a great effort, and don't even look at those spinning wheels." When the king sent for his 12 huntsmen the next morning, they walked through the anteroom without even casting a glance at the spinning wheels. Then the king said once more to the lion, "You've deceived me again. They are men, for they never once looked at the spinning wheels." The lion replied, "They knew they were being tried, and they did violence to their feelings." But the king declined to believe the lion any longer. So the 12 huntsmen continued to follow the king, and he grew daily fonder of them. One day, whilst they were out hunting, it so happened that some news was brought to the king's intended bride was on her way, and might soon be expected. When the true bride heard this, she felt as though a knife had pierced her heart, and she fell fainting to the ground. The king, fearing something had happened to his dear huntsman, he ran up to help and began drawing off his shoes and gloves. Then he saw the ring which he had given to his first love, and as he gazed into her face, he knew her again, and his heart was so touched that he kissed her. And as she opened her eyes, he cried, "I am thine, and thou art mine, and no power on earth shall alter that." To the other princess he dispatched a messenger to beg her to return to her own kingdom with all speed. "For," he said, "I have got a wife, and he who finds the old key again does not require a new one." Thereupon the wedding was celebrated with great pomp, and the lion was restored to royal favor, for after all, he had told the truth.